Hi, everybody. I'm Bryan Mudd, a fan of South Plains politics. Here's your talking points for this week. Former city councilman offers to buy the first gun to arm a trained teacher in each of Lubbock's school districts. So would you take him up on his offer?
I'm Anna Warnicki in Washington. The House and the Senate are now starting to hash out a final farm bill. I'll have the latest coming up.
From the studios of KMAC Television in Lubbock, your local election headquarters. This is Talking Points with Bryan Mudd, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Services.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Also this week, retail politics. Now, that's a campaign term referring to candidates taking part in local events to meet potential voters on a personal level. Very common, very effective, especially in this area where voters like to think that they haven't been forgotten. But every candidate has his or her own campaign style. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick seems to prefer a quick fly-in tour of 11 Texas cities, including Lubbock, where the only voters he met with were members of the media. And KMAC's Avery Travis saw the whole thing.
A brief campaign stop here in Lubbock has the Lieutenant Governor touching on everything from school safety to the future of a Texas Tech vet school. But he says one of the most important things is to make sure he's connecting with rural communities.
I love traveling to outside the big cities.
Hitting 11 of these mid-sized cities in the race against his opponent, Mike Collier.
The Democrat Party, in my view, is totally out of touch with Texas values.
Things like Second Amendment rights and job growth.
How do you attract businesses? Number one, you have a conservative Republican leadership team.
But he says the top priority next legislative session is school safety. Everything from metal detectors to arming teachers.
We're not telling you what to do, but what we are telling you is whatever path you choose, we're going to be there to fund it.
Of the $60 billion a year spent on education, he says teachers only get 32%.
So we need to give them a bigger share of the pie.
But as far as veterinary education goes, he says it's now up to the Texas Tech system to make that project a reality by first choosing a new chancellor.
I don't try to micromanage from Austin those decisions, so I know there's been a lot of discussion about it, but I wasn't involved in it, and let the local community make those decisions.
No mention of a reappearance of the bathroom bill, but he says he'd like to continue many of the initiatives he began with the governor in this term.
And in the last 4 years, all the promises, I know that he's made, all the promises that I've made, we have kept. I don't think Texas is going to turn blue. Right now, I'm focused on November to get on a plane going to the next town.
After his stop in Lubbock, it was off to Amarillo for the Lieutenant Governor. Bryan, back to you.
Okay, Avery, our old friend Terry Greenberg, former editor of the Lubbock Avalanche Journal, head of Greenberg Media Management, and these days a writer, co-owner for the new conservative commentary site, LubbockLights.com. Good to see you. You know, we're just talking about Dan Patrick and in and out in a flash. It seems to be continuing almost a conservative Republican game plan of we're going to make sure we're not going to get ourselves caught in answering a lot of questions and get on the record for a lot of things. Do you see the same sort of thing?
Well, for me, it started in 2012 when Rick Perry didn't do editorial boards when he was running for governor. Mm-hmm. And I think more and more, and he won easily. Yeah. He didn't need it. And he said, you know, we're going to try to control our message. And I think you see that happening more and more politics all the time. Democrats are more open to come and talk, but I think they're willing to do anything because they can't even win a statewide seat in this state. Mm-hmm. If it was flipped, it would be interesting to see if it changed. Right. But it's been frustrating, and I take it back to 2012 and Rick Perry. Yeah.
Where did the idea for the site come together from? How did that whole, just putting together the group to get it started, talking about LubbockLights.com?
Well, and thanks for having me on to discuss it.
Sure.
This is fun. Yeah. I kind of jokingly refer to it as a media science fair experiment. It's a national review for Lubbock and West Texas and South Plains. People came to me last summer and said they felt a need for more conservative opinion and commentary beyond what normal media is doing in town. But we've been very adamant it's not news. And we're not trying to compete with the newspaper, with any of the television, radio stations. But more and more as media has fractured into pieces, right, and you can find all sorts of things on the web or, you know, in different places, I think people are more open to media that isn't all things to all people. And in this sense, we thought there was a niche to explore.
And it's an interesting read. But let me ask you about this too. You mentioned it's not news. So much of what is being considered as news by many people in journalism is coming from the opinion sites and sites that are leading one way or the other. People paid to share their views more than just they're paid to share their journalistic work. How do folks at home distinguish between the two and know who and what to trust?
It depends on their level of knowledge and their intellect. And I don't mean to be insulting, but if you want to go find stuff that agrees with you, whether you're liberal or conservative or somewhere in the middle, you can go find it now. I mean, if you go way back, when we were kids, you had, what, 3 TV stations. Fox didn't even exist.
Right.
Now you can find anything you want on anything. I mean, I have conservative and liberal friends who post things on social media all the time. See, I'm right.
Yeah.
Because they found an article out there. So when I get asked that question a lot by people when I'm talking, and I said, I just strongly recommend you listen to as many different sources as you can. Some people can't stomach it. Some people, my friends on the right, will never watch MSNBC. Right. My friends on the left will never watch Fox. And so you have to be a good consumer of news, and that means don't be afraid to go find other sources. In our case, yeah, our commentary is right of center, but we also realize in this market, that's not just 50% of the people.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and there are so many conservative voices out there in so many forums. You have some television, there are blogs and radio and social media noise. What keeps Lubbock Lights from getting lost in all of that?
Well, hopefully we're first going to be found because we're only 3 months old. You know, we started a Facebook page. We have more than 1,000 people on that, which we're excited about. But probably the thing that I hope will get us found is, one, people will be interested in it, and two, it's not just going to be knee-jerk conservative opinion. We have a mix of writers so far, and some of them are young. 1 or 2 of them, I think, are under 30. A couple of them are in their 30s. We've got young men, young women, and then we've got some older guys like me, Scott Mann, who writes under the Sandstorm Scholar, Colonel Dave Lewis, who teaches at Tech.
All fantastic.
Has just started writing for us, but I'm really excited, and I think this is what's going to happen. Going back to your question, I think the younger people, because they're all on social media, they're going to start following their friends who are posting on Lubbock Lights and I think that's helped us grow the Facebook. And we also try to have some fun with it too, even though you start talking about some ponderous issues.
Yeah. Now, are you allowing comments and debate from folks with other points of view, or is it just things to ponder?
We allow it on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
We have one guy out there who hates everything we post and almost always posts something.
That reads it all.
Yeah, his name's Jack, and you're just like, oh, there's another thing from Jack. But no, it's that. One of the things I didn't like about the newspaper website was we allowed anonymous commenting. And it just became a cesspool.
Sure.
We thought, okay, you know, that was Scott's idea. Let's do it through Facebook. You're supposed to use your real name.
Yeah.
We don't know that. We can all call Mark Zuckerberg and ask, and he can maybe tell us. That ain't going to happen. But that's so far turned out to be a good way to do it.
Are you digging into some more nationally centered topics, or is it really just local sourced ideas and stories?
Scott mostly writes about local, but I think we're writing about everything. I know I'll be writing more about national issues. I need to write a little more, kind of getting it up and running and doing some of the business side has kept me a little busy in that area, and my company also. But we want to branch out in a lot of areas.
Do. It's a heck of a read. There's some great writing on it already, and as you said, they're only 3 months old. LubbockLights.com. Terry Greenberg from Greenberg Media Management. Good to see you.
Thank you, sir.
Come back soon.
I will do that.
And let's do this week's poll question. Hey, would you be in favor of allowing Texans to fill out a voter registration form online? Talk to us on the KMAC News Facebook page and on everythinglubbock.com. Click on Talking Points and give us your opinion. Coming up, will the next Texas Speaker of the House come from West Texas? The odds have improved a little. And how many of you spent part of the week watching the confirmation circus surrounding the president's latest Supreme Court nominee? Some local perspective on how the decision could affect you next on Talking Points.